Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, and today's video comes to us as a bit of a surprise, especially the format that it's actually going to be in, because I hadn't planned to do it in this style until a couple days ago or a couple videos ago, depending on how you want to look at it, that we sat here and discussed the Hagi problem. It wasn't a problem about the player Hagi, wasn't the problem, it was a conversation and a comment on the problem we find ourselves in as a football club. Do we keep him? Or do we sell him? And the reaction was so good, not only in terms of like the likes or anything, but the comment section was an absolute goldmine from you guys. Some real genuine conversation, and that's the way I've always seen this channel, is it's a conversation between us all. It's not just a me thing and a fire out and it's all, but this, I want to read the conversations, I want to read the comments, and there were some great points for keeping Hagi that made me go aye, and then there was other great comments as well for getting rid of him, and I thought yeah, that actually makes sense as well. So I thought let's try and take that again and really open the forum up, open this channel up for more conversation as we talk about another player that splits the fan base right down the middle. And obviously as it stands, it looks like he will be leaving the football club over the summer, but let's discuss if he should be, and let's discuss the Dessers problem. Didn't mind hitting the like button, by the way, that'd be greatly appreciated, as we're trying to hit 70k on the old channel. That's the dream, so if you could help us out, that'd be greatly appreciated. But I want to get into this, and I want to go ahead and discuss Dessers and everything around it, from the player, maybe a couple links here or there, the stats, the eye test, everything about this laddie, and I'm going to try and do it as fairly as possible. And I'm saying as fairly as possible because there's always little bleeds of bias and everything like that, but I don't know which way my bias leans with Dessers, truly, and that's because of the ringer this man has put me through. Because when it was first announced and first looked at, I liked the look of him. I'm not going to hide away from that, you know what I mean? There was Lammers and that scared me to death, but Dessers I liked because down to a T, that man was a striker for Michael Beale's system. It looked perfect on paper, but unfortunately the paper that Dessers came to actually be on started to self-destruct under Michael Beale's power trip madness, and it all sort of fizzled out. Then we brought in a new manager, and it looked like it was over for our boy Dessers before it even truly began, as Clement came in and didn't fancy him. Remember, he was an unused substitute in several games, including sort of the draws versus Aberdeen and another bad result. You're sitting here thinking, well, if he's not even getting used, if he's not even worth the last 5 minutes in a game we're dropping points, this guy's no got a future. But what happened? Danilo got injured, and Dessers was like the kid that's last picked at PE and came trundling out like this. And to be fair to the laddie, he started to perform, and more importantly, he started to score goals. But not just a couple goals. In fact, he scored more goals than anyone else had, leading the line at Rangers on 5 of the last 7 years, troops, for this football club. Despite all of that, despite all the rings, that is what he gave us, and it absolutely breaks your heart that you have to say that, and then look at you in the eyes and say, it's a shame the guy doesn't like to shoot, which sounds absolutely mental given what we've just said. But if you actually watched the games, you'll know what I'm talking about. But let's dive deeper into this and really start to paint the old picture then. Let's look at his first and possibly last season as a Rangers striker. He played 54 games in all competitions, grabbing 22 goals and grabbing a very impressive 9 assists for leading the line at Rangers, which if you slap it all together, of course, is 31 goal contributions in 54, which if you look at not only in the lens of a debut season where you're moving to a new team, moving to a new culture, having the mess that we're going to get into later in the video, if you just put it into those optics, that there is a great season. So good, in fact, that it beats Morelos' debut season, it beats Roof's debut season, it beats Cholak's debut season, who you know I was a massive fan of. In fact, if you look at it and you put all the numbers on the table, it beats nearly every Rangers striker over the last 2 decades, or his first season at this football club. I mean, our boy Jelavic in the 2010 season hit 31 goal contributions, ladies and gentlemen. We all know what we thought of that laddie, but I'm not going to take any Jelavic slander because he done 31 goal contributions in 35 games. So let's not be disrespectful to the Croatian beaut and the one-touch finish king that is Niko Jelavic. But I'm putting it into that context to show you it's his first season, and it wasn't as bad as a lot of people who rant and rave and shout and foam and scream and be mad at and complain at everywhere online. You put it into those lenses, it's actually pretty damn good. But it's the name of Alfredo Morelos that I want to pull back, because we're not going to compare him to Jelavic because he's a cut above everyone I've mentioned so far in today's video. But I want to look at Morelos because I feel like it's such an important part of the story of Dessers and why just some people didn't take to him. Well, that's the way I actually look at it, ladies and gentlemen, because what is it we all talked about when Dessers was signed? What did I put in the title? He was Morelos' replacement. In Michael Beale's system, he was it down to a T. Gerrard's system, you could see it working. All his attributes were similar to Morelos. He was here to replace Morelos, and as silly and as basic as it sounds, ladies and gentlemen, there is some in the fan base that wasn't ready to replace Alfredo Morelos. They couldn't let go of the idea of Alfredo Morelos. And I'm saying idea because Morelos isn't Morelos anymore, ladies and gentlemen. I think 4 goals in 17 games in the second division. Brazil football should remind everyone and show everyone and tell people just to let it frickin' go. But Dessers never really got a fair crack at the old whip because he wasn't Morelos when Morelos was truly at the top of his game. You know what I mean? The 18-19 and the 19-20 Alfredo Morelos was absolutely untouchable. Put us on his back. Some of the greatest performances I've seen in Europe in a very, very long time. He well and truly carried us, and Dessers was compared to that guy. You know what I mean? 5-6 years ago. That guy. That's the memories. That's what we've got. And just some people never took to him at all because he wasn't 18-19 Morelos, 19-20 Morelos. No, he wasn't. But you know what he is? Ladies and gentlemen, he was an attacker that outperformed Morelos 4 in Morelos' 6 seasons here in terms of goals and an assists. And what's the hardest job in football? It's putting the ball in the back of the net. And Dessers done it. So I truly feel like Dessers does deserve a lot more respect than what a lot of people give him when they're foaming at the mouth, when they're screaming at him and they're saying this and they're saying that. Oh, he's no Morelos. Well, Morelos isn't Morelos anymore. We need to let it go. But moving away from that and why I just feel like some people never took to him at all because he was the first to replace people's idols and their favourite player ever grew up. There's people whose Morelos is their top dog because they've grew up and they've seen what he's actually done, and I feel like he was a casualty of that as Big Cyril Dessers. But I want to get to more of the stats now then, shall we, and start to break down really his debut season at Rangers. If you look at it from the Champions League qualifiers, despite it being an absolute mess in terms of a Michael Beale madness, he still performed with 3 goal contributions in 4 games with 1 goal and 2 assists in the 4, which is not too bad. Wasn't it great? But it wasn't terrible. What was terrible was his overall play in the Europa League, however, where it should have been better because, again, it is a step lower than the actual Champions League, where he should have been able to do it when we should have been doing that. It was just in the midst of the absolute mess, and for me, he performed really poorly overall in most games, and I think of him just being bypassed in a lot of games where he got 1 goal and 1 assist in 7 Europa League performances, which is simply not good enough, especially at that level. That's when you're relying on your striker. That's when the Morelos comparisons end up coming back up, because Morelos could do this in Europe and Dessers couldn't do it, and that's fair. The 1 goal is obviously the goal we all know, and it was simply world class. Sensational ball from Cifuentes. What a finish by our boy Dessers. But the thing that made that goal so special, the nonchalant feint, the cutback, the fake shot before putting it into the net, would soon become the calling card that haunted every Rangers fan throughout the rest of the season. But before we get to the eye test section of the old video and discuss more of maybe the negative aspects of his gameplay, let's finish up the numbers and stats properly then, shall we, by breaking down what he done in the SPFL, which for me is the most important thing in any Rangers player's career. What do you do in the SPFL? European nights are great. Oh, this is great. Cup competitions are great. But the SPFL used to be the bread and butter, and used to be the thing that signified our greatness as an actual team. So what did they do in the old SPFL? Well, they got 20 goal contributions in 34 games, which again is pretty damn good, especially for a debut season, new culture, new manager, 2 new managers, players playing injured or early place. It was a pretty damn good season, especially when you put it in the context that he was a substitute 7 of those 34 games. That's playing less than 15-20 minutes a game, by the way. So you put that into there, it starts to look a wee bit better. And you sprinkle in the fact that he played the 96 of the 27 games that he wasn't an actual substitute. That there is a pretty damn impressive resume statistically on paper. And again, that's when it starts to hit you in the ticker. And that's when you start to sway one way before you get to the other way. You're looking at it, and I've mentioned that a couple of times, debut season, new managers, but it's not just that. Think of the mess we were as an actual team. We had fullbacks at right wing and left wing and centre mid. We had boys playing everywhere. We were trying to fit in players out. It was an absolute mess. And for a striker, you need to get in good chemistry with the players. You've got to go in sync with your players, but you couldn't get any of that. One week it was a 20-year-old at right wing, then it was Scotty Wright running about mad, then it was a right back. Absolute mess all around them. So I think you put all that in and you still see it right now. Was Dessers a problem, ladies and gentlemen? Was he a bad signing? Was he a flop? Was he as bad as we all thought he was? Probably no. But just like the Hadji video, we sort of discussed the pros first. Now it's time to get to the actual cons, and for me there is, because again, something we talk about a lot on the channel. I know you all love the stats and statistics, but stats never tell you the full story of a player, a full story of a game. You've got to dive a wee bit deeper, and that's where we get to the old eye test. And for me, it's when it looks he's up there. When you start adding the eye test, it starts coming down here, because Dessers, rightly or wrongly, ladies and gentlemen, will be remembered for not shooting on occasion. Despite the goals that he scored, the amount of times that he fake shotted and he waited and what he didn't do rather than what he did do. And that just comes with the expectation and the pressure of playing for a team like Rangers, for a team that's supposed to be winning trophies and winning silverware. What people might call harsh, that people think about the freeze at Parkhead, the miss versus Motherwell when we were in a game we ended up losing, the game when we were winning 1-0 versus Ross County. He missed two clear-cut golden opportunities to put that game to bed, put it 2-0, kill it stone dead, 3 points up the road. He missed two golden chances, one of them where he refused to shoot again, and then that happened in the next week where we drew 0-0 versus Dundee. That's your league title. I'm not saying it's his fault or anything like that and it was all on him. I'm not saying that at all, but you're looking at the pressure and the responsibility of playing and leading the line for Rangers. What separates good strikers and guys that can do you a job to the truly great ones and the legends of this football club is the games that we mentioned there. Going out there and putting the ball into the back of it, taking the responsibility, putting your team on the shoulder, scoring when it's ugly and putting it away. And whether we want it or no, because I get it, he's such a likeable guy and I wanted it to work. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, you can make a real case that when the biggest moments were presented to Serial Dessers to carry this squad and put this squad on his back, unfortunately he either fake shotted, fainted, or just missed. And it's why, despite what I think is actually a very impressive debut campaign, and it's one of these ones, just like a Cholak, in 3 months' time, if all these new shiny toys that we've got aren't scoring goals, if Danilo shows what he showed towards the end of his Rangers run before he got injured rather than the start, if he's missing chances, people will look at Dessers and look at the numbers and look at this and say, what have we actually done? I can see it happening, ladies and gentlemen, but also the misses, the big chances, the frustration that you always seem to have in the gut of your stomach because you knew your number 9 when he was through on goal wouldn't shoot right away. You can also understand why Clement might not want that in an actual team. But to show you just how sad I am with this and how much I'm going round and round in circles, I do think, even with everything I've said, he was involved in 2 goals that was controversially ruled out versus Celtic with VAR in his debut season. There was moments and bits where I thought, yeah, there is son. But again, the proof is in the pudding. The biggest moments came. Unfortunately, the biggest man couldn't go ahead and take them. And that's what I feel on it. That is the story of Dessers. That's the problem with Dessers. That is the Dessers problem. And if you are still watching today's video right now, I would love to know what you would do with Dessers. Did he show you enough to deserve a second go at the whippet leading the line at Rangers? Or after an impressive campaign, have you seen enough to say he's a good player, but he's no the guy to take us upstairs to winning some silverware? So do we cash in on him whilst our team's willing to bid and look at the season at Rangers and say, well, he actually done well, look at his goals, look, he says, we're willing to give you the exact same money as you paid for him. Do you cash in or do you keep? I would love to know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. I'm going to say something very controversial right now, which everyone's not going to like and everyone's not going to agree with, and I know it's probably not going to happen. I'd keep Dessers, Danilo, and Hamza Egamani, is a front three you can rely on, because it's no fit FIFA, it's no football manager, you're no guaranteed to have all of them all the season. Danilo's had 2 injuries. Hazmat is obviously a young laddie. That's a lot of pressure to put on them too. Maybe a second go at the whip with Dessers would be a smart move for his football club. But what do I think will happen? I think Dessers will be gone very, very soon. But it's not what I hope, despite he's all going to scream at me in the comment section below. I know, everything I said, I know what I've said, ladies and gentlemen, but there's something about him. Give him another go, you know what I mean? Just see. Protect the front line of Rangers so we're not playing Scott Wright as a striker in a European final or something. You know what I mean? I just can't handle it. The 3 of them would be a decent free for rotation and depth and quality and a shot, but aye, I know it's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So count this as a potential Dessers is leaving video if it ends up happening very, very soon. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me know down in the comment section below. And again, have a conversation with each other. It was really refreshing reading the comment section on the Hadji video. It was really great to see where you actually sit with this, as I feel like I know a lot of yous, you know what I mean? It's the same names, it's the same conversations and everything like that we have at the start of the season, at the end of the seasons, but we've came to really know each other over the years, so I do value your input and your thoughts in terms of individual subjects like this. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, I've been CJ Over92. Thank you so much for watching, all the best, and bye-bye.